week 13. Hello, welcome to One of the Trenches podcast. I'm Johnny Jones. He's Patches Kaplan. We're here today to break down everything that happened in week 12 and then to preview week 13. Patches, how we doing today? How we doing after your trip?
Oh, Johnny, doing good. My pockets are feeling a lot lighter. My belly's feeling a lot heavier. Overall, a great trip. Shout out to the boys out in Vegas. I'm doing good. I want to apologize, take a moment to apologize to our fans for no episode last week. I have no idea what happened there. The pod was not posting. I had to leave on my trip. Johnny couldn't get into the account. It was just
I wore my wig. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. That's coming next week.
You still owe that.
Oh, I would never let the listeners
because
down.
if you go next week without it, it's a full face of makeup is what it's going to involve.
I'm wearing a wig. Don't you guys worry.
But this week is going to bring great. We're going to have a lot more content out for our listeners over the next couple of weeks. Johnny, last week brought some good answers to the scene of college football.
Oh, awesome week. Week of college football.
It explained a lot. It taught us a lot. Where would you like to start? Because there's some games so for the reference, we wrote down OU at Bama.
Yep.
Iowa at USC, a gross, rainy hurricane game. Virginia at Duke. Texas at Georgia, and Notre Dame at Pitt, which I took out a $50,000 escrow against my house for that game. Put it on Notre Dame. I cashed. I'm a millionaire. But there's games that played out like crazy that we didn't even really get to explore.
Yeah. Okay, that's where I want to start. Let me start with the game you did mention, and then we can go into the kind of the higher quality games. This is a game that I have a lot to say about it, but let's start with you. So it's Texas A&M at Texas A&M 31 against South Carolina 30. This game at one point was 30-3 South Carolina. Texas A&M comes storming back. What did you think about that outcome?
I put it as this simply. I am super impressed at a team that can tighten their shoulder straps, buckle their chin straps, and go play football down 27. Marcel Reed could have realistically had 7 interceptions in that first half, and he came out and he played like a Heisman level quarterback. It was unbelievable. I know a lot of people are saying that. It blows my mind that people can take it on a microcosm and say, oh, they played terrible in the first half. That's who they truly are. It's funny when they play an actually good team, like this is what happens. Hold on a second. It takes a certain level of grit, heart, courage to stand across an opponent down 27 when nothing is going right and somehow win the football game.
Yeah, no, I wanted to start this off by giving them a lot of credit. I think Mike Elko is a great coach, and I want to give him a lot of credit for coming back in that game. That being said, though, that offense is so dynamic when they're on, but when they're off, it scares me. Like Marcel Reed was one of the front runners for the Heisman. I know people are giving him credit for coming back. I think he might have played his way out of it because that first half was so bad. Like so bad. And you're right. Like give him a lot of credit for coming back, but I don't know. And their defense scares me because at times their defense doesn't look great. Like that, let up like that Notre Dame, like 40 points. Yeah. This game, 30 points to a South Carolina team that's been all over the place this year. I did want to say one thing. Like I've got it written down. Like how many lives does this cat have for Texas A&M? Because right now they've got close games with Notre Dame, Auburn, Arkansas, South Carolina. That's 4 games. They've won those games by a combined 11 points. Like they just keep playing these like barn burners, and I just think the more we keep pushing that loss off, it's going to happen at a really bad time. I think they might get really exposed in the SEC championship game. But this Texas A&M team, it scares me. I wanted to give them credit for coming back, but
what if they don't?
I don't know. What if they don't? What?
Yeah, every team is prone to playing bad, right? Notre Dame played bad against BC. Bama's played bad against FSU. We're not going to dive into OU yet. Georgia played bad against Bama. Vanderbilt played bad against Bama. You could go down the list. Oregon played bad against Iowa. It is inevitable that teams are going to play bad against other really tough teams, especially when you're in the Big Ten and the SEC, that I'm not chopping this up as they got through it, but rather than they're thrown into a blender and they're able to come out without a scratch.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. You got to give them so much credit for coming back. But, I don't know. Auburn, Arkansas, South Carolina are tremendously talented teams, but aren't great teams. And the fact that we're playing these close games, like week in and week out, Like, I don't know. I think I'm really scared when they match up against a team that's going to put 4 quarters all together against them. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
just
I
don't
don't know.
know. Are there teams that are able to do that?
Yes, I think so. Like, I think, like, I don't know if they play Georgia. Like, Georgia looks like we get into that game in a second, but I don't know if they play a team like that. I think it's going to be really scary. But
Don't get me wrong. I think that Texas A&M is a burn hot, burn fast type team.
yeah, the defense scares me.
The defense scares me, but they get a lot of sacks. When you get a lot of sacks, it's really
Yeah.
hard for anyone to do anything. You know, and that's why I think OU is such a good team, unexpectedly. But
Yeah,
I am giving them a lot of credit. I'm also pulling a lot of credit from Shane Beamer. I thought he coached an absolutely terrible game. You know, that last series of events, that offensive coordinator should be thrown into a garbage can somewhere and left there. You know, 2nd and 1, and Lenore Sellers takes a sack. 3rd and long, he takes a sack. 4th and 22, he runs out of bounds. That's the best you got from me, Shane Beamer. Like, that's unbelievable. You know, almost unexcusable at times. You know, I'm absolutely disappointed in what they were able to produce for a season. I hope he sticks around, but I don't think it might not be the case much longer. But yeah, no, I give a lot of credit to A&M. I don't think they have anything to worry about going to Texas right now. I looked up DraftKings. They're still a 3-point favorite as of right now. They host that game, I believe.
Yeah, they do. I don't know that game. I'm not ready to make a pick on that game because that game.
I mean, I am. If we want to move on to the next game, there's not a team that disappointed me more in the entire country than Texas over the weekend.
Yeah, so Georgia 35, Texas 10 at Georgia. Go for it.
Slaughterhouse, Johnny. That fourth quarter, the end of the third, beginning of the entire fourth was an absolute slaughterhouse. The onside kick, the running the ball, the deep balls. The lack of offensive production out of Texas, like we were shown who is the standard in the SEC. And I'll tell you, it wasn't our boys from Austin. You know, so I'm sitting here and thinking to myself, Patch, why did you do what you did? Where you played up this huge scenario about how Texas is going to beat Georgia and compete with Texas A&M, be the first 3-loss team into the playoffs. They got smoked. Even if they beat A&M, they're not in the playoffs, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I don't think a 3-loss team is getting in. I do think this game is more about what Georgia is than Texas, because I think Georgia right now, they are just peaking at the right time. I think they're coming to form, and I think you could make a real case they're one top 2 teams in the nation right now. Like, that offense is terrifying. Gunnar Stockton, I say it every week, but like 5 total TDs, 4 passing, 1 on the ground. Our wide receiver, Humphreys and Branch at running back Frazier, like they're so talented. They can do it in a variety of ways. And then their defense, a lot of people were saying, like, especially after that Tennessee game, the defense isn't as good as Georgia defense has been. Held Texas to 10. Like, I don't know. Like,
you're spot on. You know, I think people put too much emphasis on close and/or bad games, so everyone keeps coming back to the Alabama and the Tennessee game. But you got to take a step back and say, like, this is a Texas that was kind of coming into fruition here.
Yeah.
And, you know, Georgia went into their place and showed them who's your daddy type thing. And, like, it was unbelievable. When that type of Georgia team plays, I don't think there's, a team in the nation that can compete with them.
No.
I'm speaking Ohio State. I'm speaking Indiana, Notre Dame. Like, that Georgia team was that Georgia team was a 2021-2022 Georgia team that I've seen. And, you know, I don't know how they're not the easy favorite to win the SEC. I don't know how a team like that then turns around and loses to Alabama. You know, Georgia looked as gritty, as tough, as courageous of a team as it gets. You know, just dominating the trenches. You know, hitting those special teams plays, winning on the outside. You know, X play after X play, and yet they lose to Alabama. I don't get that part, but I do think that they're a team for November and December.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, this is a good Texas team. Like, I know we've said a lot about Texas on this podcast, but like, you know, they went in, they beat Oklahoma. They had a barn burner with Ohio State, who looks like they're Superman right now. I don't know, like, they beat Vanderbilt. Like, this is a good Texas team, and Georgia just kind of beat the hell out of them. So I think this is a Georgia team that, I don't know, they're peaking at the right moment. I think they can win the national championship. Just very good stuff out of them.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. That was an awesome game to watch.
Let's move on. Oklahoma 23 at Bama 21.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. John McKeer. winner, John Mateer winner. But it wasn't about John Mateer this game.
No, it
This
wasn't.
game was
Not
all
at all.
about Oklahoma's defense. Oklahoma's defense was the definition
You-
of them
You're
not
you're
break.
chopping this up to Oklahoma's defense and not a lack of toughness or a lack of run game or
Well, I
a
think both teams can't
shadow
run the
puppet
ball.
for a
I
team.
think, well, that's the biggest thing I have about Oklahoma is I don't think they can run the ball. Just like I don't think Bama can run the ball. But what I
Bama
do
can't.
think is Bama move the ball, like move the ball consistently. And Oklahoma just got, just like that Tennessee game, they got timely turnovers. They're tough. John Mateer, Dion Burks, like they just know who they are. And I have to give so much credit to Brent Venables. He's one of the winners of the week preview later when I talk. But like, I don't know. It's hard to win in Tuscaloosa. And they went in there and they did that. They took care of business. And they're kind of in the driver's seat getting the playoffs right now. They're not going to play on championship weekend. And I think that's good for them. That's a week of rest for them. And I don't know. They've got 2 winnable games down the stretch. I think this
How
is
did they not make the SEC championship? They have 2 losses. Excuse me. I thought they lost to Michigan for a second.
No, they've got 2 losses. But I think they're basically in. They lost to Texas and Ole Miss. This is a great Oklahoma team. Alabama, I don't know what to say. What do you think about Bama?
It's just I knew what was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be as bad, right? Like I knew that Oklahoma was going to go get after Ty Simpson. I knew they were going to shut down the run. That third down percentage was going to go down the crapshoot. I didn't think it was going to happen to this degree, right? We saw the way Alabama was able to figure out a way to beat Mizzou, figure out a way to beat South Carolina on a crazy drive, figure out a way to beat Vandy, right? And I thought to myself, okay, yes, this is not Nick Saban's Alabama, but this is a Bama team that can figure out how to win and stick out its chest when it needs to. But it's funny. The minute they went tit to tat, suddenly this Bama team is cowardly and they can't get a third down. They're throwing interceptions. They have 3 turnovers. They can't run the ball. Their special players look less and less dynamic. It's just funny. It's just like they look like they had no heart the minute they got punched in the mouth.
What happened to Ryan Williams? Did we watch Ryan Williams do acrobatics against Georgia last year and we crowned him in the same conversations like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell?
He was higher than Jeremiah Smith for a little while. He was like the second or third in the playoffs or the Heisman.
And I don't know if he's had that good of, like, if you look at game to game, he hasn't had that many 100-yard games. And this year, like, he's kind of been a ghost. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but Alabama's got an incredibly talented receiver room. And I don't even know if he's the second best guy in that team. Like, Bernard and Horton are studs. And Ryan Williams might fall into that third slot in that room.
No, you're spot on. I'd be surprised if, at first I thought, here we go again, right? Like this is the Bama team that wins the Natty, and we've seen this. And I've always been a Bama lover. I like Nick Saban. I don't like Kalen DeBoer's Alabama, and I've been very, very vocal about that. I don't think a coach that needs his certain special little offensive coordinator that he has in what is the offensive coordinator's name?
I'll look it up.
You know who I'm talking about. It's not Nick Grubb.
No, it is Grubb.
Ryan Grubb.
Ryan Grubb, yeah. Good play.
Ryan, and I question a little bit when a coach needs this offensive coordinator to be successful. How good of a head coach is he? I'm all for surrounding yourself with really good coaches, but look what Dabo's done without Brent Venables. He's done anything.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
And I take a step back and I start to think like that. And, I don't like this Alabama team. A team like Alabama should be able to run the ball in 2025. That's just embarrassing. You have all the talent in the world. You have Caden Proctor, and you still can't generate more than 3.2 yards per carry in college football. I give them a lot of credit. Their schedule was a gauntlet, right? Mizzou, they had Tennessee, they had Vandy, they've had Georgia, like they went into Georgia, arguably one of the best wins of the year. And so why am I sitting here after one pretty good loss and saying all that is erased?
I don't think it's erased. I think Bama's still a good team. They're going to get into the playoffs. Even at like 10, I think they could be a little high just because of their quality of wins versus losses. But I don't know. This is like, they're just too one-dimensional. Like I think in the playoff, they'll be dangerous in a shootout, but the playoff comes down to matchups, and we're like, if they can get into a shootout, they can throw the ball well. And if Ty Simpson, I know he threw up 1 pick this week, but he does take care of the football and he's got studs around him. Like they can score enough. I just think Not being able to run the ball is going to kill them down the stretch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it is 3rd and 3, and you know a pass is coming. It's a lot easier to defend it. You don't need the big boys up front. But I do think that that's going to be problematic against teams that are really good at even stuffing the run on top of that. Texas Tech, Texas A&M. The SEC picture is very confusing. I don't know if you have any insight on who could make it, who can't. You know, obviously I know Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and A&M are all in the running for the conference title game. But I don't know who has priority, who doesn't. You know, obviously A&M is pretty much locked in.
Yes, I can pull up the standings right now, but before we get into that, because we can talk about on the playoff pictures, do you want to talk a little about USC Iowa? That was a huge game. USC 26, Iowa 21. I was impressed by the Hawkeyes hanging in there. Like scored 21 points.
Come on, Johnny. Give credit where credit's due. And I know you're not giving credit where credit's due because you are nervous for this Saturday.
Not nervous for this Saturday. I'm just saying, you really thought Iowa was going to do that well?
Yes. They literally lost to a last possession 50-50 game against your boys over in Eugene. So how are you going to tell me that they can't go in the rain, in the cold rain down in Southern Cal, and not perform decently well? I think you are looking at it incorrectly and backwards with a biased lens. You got to say USC went down 12 points at half and said, not today. Not today, Kirk Ferentz. Not today, FCS quarterback that I'm drawing a blank on.
Mark Gronowski? Don't disrespect Mark Gronowski like that.
No, I didn't.
FCS legend.
Yep,
FCS legend. Yeah.
They came and played. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. They came and punched Iowa right back in the face. They said, we historically lose these games. Not anymore. And I'm going to throw this out there already. I believe that USC is good enough to be in the playoffs. I think in any other conference, including the SEC, it's possible that they could be in the playoffs. And I think that they got a terrible draw against Illinois. A terrible draw against Illinois.
What does that even mean? What does that mean, terrible draw?
They played the latest game the week before. They played 11 p.m. and then they played 9 a.m. against Illinois. Gosh. And then they lost a 50-50 game.
Dude, there's like 7 days in between that. Like
your body never forgets, Johnny. Your body never forgets.
You can't catch up on sleep in 7 days. They're not taking real classes at USC. Whoa. Come on.
That's the Harvard of the West, dude. Show some respect.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Show some respect.
You're talking to me about bias because I want Oregon to be USC this week. Could we?
You're not even saying.
No. Wait. Let me finish.
What you're saying is that it's not even going to be a football game. You're saying that USC shouldn't even be able to tie Oregon's cleats.
No. I first of all never said that. Second of all, could we be a little lost in the plot here, and you might be trying to bolster Notre Dame's win against USC? Yeah. Come on, there it is. There it is, right there. There it is. It is. No,
I don't want to go on the rant right now because my daughter is sleeping about Notre Dame. I'm going to save it for a little bit later. But I have been boiling hot water all day long about these college football playoffs rankings, and I'm going to dive into those later. But I truly think that USC has the big boys, has the run game, has the outside threats to compete at a national level.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I think your Ducks are in big time trouble, especially if they get into a slugfest. I'm almost taking USC.
No. In slugfest, no. That Oregon's D line is so good, dude. It's so good. You got Amari Washington's going to be the first round pick.
The Iowa Oregon game and the Iowa USC game were literally page for page, play for play, almost the same game. And
well, big thing
you're telling me that USC doesn't belong on the same field?
Come on. Okay. Well, the big thing is, Oregon is very injured right now. We got to get healthy for this game, which I think we will. I think Gary Bryant and Decorion Moore are going to come back. But if Decorion Moore is back, it's game over, man. That guy might be the best receiver in the country. Well, no, obviously Jeremiah Smith. I'm saying as a freshman receiver, that guy's a stud. Do you have any other games you want to wrap up Week 12, or do you want to move on to the playoff picture?
So I do want to talk about Notre Dame Pitt a little bit. Quickly, Virginia takes down Duke, one of the easiest Cheesecake Factory picks that the history
give it to me.
Give it to me. Obviously, I had OU there. So both you and I both hit the scoreboard there. You have 15. I have 7. I'm rounding up because I am playing the underdog. So you can screw off there. Notre Dame Pitt, Johnny. right? This was this huge firework game, right? Top 25. College game day goes to the lamest university on earth in Pitt. I hate the city of Pittsburgh. I don't even care what our listeners from Pittsburgh think. They go there. And this feels like the biggest, false big game I've ever been around.
Yeah, no, Pitt's not good.
Pitt's not good.
Yeah.
But yet they're ranked 22 in the nation. And I'm doing quotations, right? 22 in the nation. We go out there and we body them. Not only do we body them, they score 3 points offensively. They have 192 yards offensively, less than 100 yards passing. It was a comically bad game. They get a 25-yard pick six. And then Pat Narduzzi, the biggest coward, I'm trying to keep this PG, the biggest coward that I've ever seen in college football, calls a timeout with 2 seconds left and throws a cross route for a touchdown just to boost up the score.
That's sick.
But he doesn't care because it's not ACC play. Pat, you don't belong in the playoff. You're not going to make the playoff. You lost a lot of respect. I hope he hears this one day somehow, some way. I am blown away by your cowardice. What
is CJ Carr didn't look great though.
No, he didn't, and I'm a little bit concerned about.
I'm just a little. I know it was a great win. It was a great win against a ranked opponent, but CJ Carr, this point of the season, is starting to scare me a little bit for the playoffs. Like, you got those stud running backs. I'm just saying, he's starting to scare. Like, are we thinking like? I don't know.
Part of me thinks he gets a little bit too frivolous, right? Like, we're up 21 points, and
you can't do that against a good team.
No, you can't. And I'm just as nervous as you are.
Good word. First of all, good word. Frivolous. That was awesome.
Nice.
That was a sick.
I want to get a lot of texts about how he probably used it wrong or stuttered or something.
To me, no. You used it right. Yeah.
Shout out to my English friends out there who know good vocabulary. So, Johnny, we're going to move on to Week 12 here, and you know as good as I do that Week 12 Week 13, is generally the fluff week for the SEC, where they play their in-state FCS teams, their Weber States, their Chattanoogas, and
the Citadel. They always play the Citadel.
Everyone plays the Citadel.
Just should get like $1 million this week. They'll probably get more than that just for getting killed.
Just stay healthy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So you want to go in that, or you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm going to. I'd like to talk about the playoffs really quick. So I'm going to just run down it really quick, and you can stop me at any point and interject about teams that you have an opinion on quickly, and then we're going to dive into a little bit deeper. 1 through 3 did not change at all. OSU, Indiana, A&M, UGA takes the 4 spot over.
I like Georgia. I like Georgia at the 4 spot. I think they deserve it. Like, I think
I agree.
One loss to Bama. Like a stable of good wins. I think they might be the second or third best team in the country, but I think them at 4 is pretty fair.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with the the playoff rankings this week. And I want to dive into what a lot of people are saying in just a moment. So we have 5 through 10. We have Texas Tech, Ole Miss at 6, 7 at Oregon, OU, Oklahoma University at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Bama at 10, 11 BYU, and 12 finishes out with Utah.
Which, for the listeners, Utah and BYU in the playoff would probably be out because they'll probably put the ACC and then the group of 5 in there, which makes sense. And
you got to be
that would suck because Utah's a fun team, but I don't know if Utah and BYU deserve to be in.
No, I agree. You know what's funny, and I'm gonna read the rest before I continue. Outside of the bubble, we have 13 at Miami, a team that's climbing, yet they're not playing any better. 14 Vandy, 15 USC, Georgia Tech, Texas at 17, Michigan at 18, the most fraudulent team I've ever seen at 18, Virginia at 19, Tennessee at 20, Illinois, welcome back at 21, 22 Mizzou, 23 Houston, Tulane at 24. Shout out John Sumrall, who officially turned down the Florida job and called this team the most average team in the land.
Yeah, he said, I don't think we deserve to be in the top 25. That's crazy.
That's I don't know what these career suicides these coaches are doing, and then we have Arizona State at 25. So, Johnny, I want to talk about the elephant in the room a little bit here.
What's that?
Top 12.
What? I think Oklahoma deserves to be in.
It's a great pick. Let me rip out the Band-Aid here. Is it wrong to have Notre Dame above Miami? This has been the hottest take.
That one's hard.
Platt keeps talking about it. Talk to me about it, Johnny.
That's hard. I think they should be right next to each other. I don't know. Like you play the game for a reason. Like I think the committee kind of screwed themselves because when the first playoff rankings came out, they were at 18, and now they're like scrambling to get them up because people are being like, hey, they beat Notre Dame. Hey, they have only 2 losses. When you look at their resume's just as good as Utah. They just use a couple of these teams. I think Notre Dame is right now a better team, but I think them meeting on the field and has to mean something. And if you look at their
Why
losses,
is Notre Dame the only team they're getting compared to? There's 12 other teams ahead.
No, but I'm saying like compare their losses for a second here. Okay, Texas A&M is a better loss, but that kind of evens out because Miami beat Notre Dame. So I think you put that as net even. And then Louisville and SMU are like okay teams.
Notre Dame's not losing either of those. Here's my thing.
But they did lose to Miami. They did lose to Miami.
I respect head-to-head matchups, and I respect the stupid old grandpa argument of why even play the game. Stupidest argument on earth. Where I'm going with that is the game is one of 10 games. We have 90% of the season left. Hold on a second. And what I'm going at is that there are 12 teams ahead of you, Miami. But the only ones that people are calling bias is Notre Dame at 9. What about Oregon? Who is Oregon beat, Johnny? What's Oregon's best?
No. First of all, you got the only reason people are doing that is because they played and lost. Well,
yes, they played and lost. But here's the thing: is what about the rest of the season? Right, we're acting like it's apples to apples just
Oregon
because we played
loss.
each other.
Oregon only has 1 loss. That's why.
But who's their best win? If you want to compare wins, who is Oregon's best win?
I don't know. Iowa. Yeah. Like this week against USC. Like who's Notre Dame's best win?
I mean, first of all, they beat USC.
Like Notre Dame doesn't. I'm just saying, like, who?
Notre Dame did.
What? No, Miami's 13.
They beat 15 USC.
Yeah, well, Oregon will have a chance at that this weekend, I'm saying.
No, and that's what I'm saying is that I think it's ridiculous when you have to group 2 teams just because they play each other. There's a good indication on where they stand. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If it came down to everything else lines up head to head, yes. Why is head to head the only deciding factor? We're talking about 12 weeks ago.
I think you should be happy you're above Bama. I don't know. I think that was a tough decision.
Both our losses are top 15 teams. Bama lost to a top 75 team.
Yeah, but
why is that not talked about?
They have way better wins. They have way better wins.
If we're saying the whole argument comes down to your losses, right? Notre Dame lost to Miami.
I think it's wins and losses.
Just show the same respect across the board.
I think it's wins and losses. It's not just one thing, and we've seen that.
Our wins over in South Bend have been not as good as Bama's. I'm not going to take that. I think that Bama should be ranked. I think that Bama has arguably the best win in the nation. There's no doubt.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if anyone's mad, it shouldn't be you. I think it should be Bama. I think Bama's getting disrespected at 10.
Right. I think there's a few teams that should be probably outside a little bit further. I think all jokes aside, Oregon should be lower. They're in the Big Ten. They have 1 loss. They've had one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen.
They have 1 loss, though, and they were in, a 10-point game with Indiana, who's the number 2 team in the country. Like, I just don't know how you can tell yourself anyone should be.
That's a double-sided sword, though, because then we're going to say, Notre Dame had a 1-point game against the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah, but then they lost to Miami. But then they went out and lost to Miami.
Miami team is better than any other team that Oregon has played. How do we know Oregon wouldn't have had
we'll see again. I don't know. But I'm just saying 1 loss, and it's to the number 2 team in the country. And Notre Dame has 2 losses, and they're both ranked. You're right. And
I think we need to stop acting like everything is incredibly objective and look at things at a holistic subject, like with subjectivity, right? That we're going to say unbiasedly, Notre Dame has looked a lot better than Miami. Notre Dame has looked a lot better in their losses than Miami did in their losses.
But I think honestly, like you can be mad about being ranked 9, but it really doesn't matter.
I'm not mad about being ranked 9.
But it doesn't matter at all
because they're in the same conversation.
No, the only thing that matters is Notre Dame definitely doesn't deserve to be ranked in the top 4, and that's all that matters. Because if you think 5 to 12, we're all playing each other, and then the top 4 get buys. So you could rank Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, And then you have the other two teams who.
What
who
I'm scared about, Johnny, is that they're basically throwing this olive branch out there that's saying, yes, Miami was the 18th or 19th team in the college football playoffs 2 weeks ago. We have now seen absolutely no change out of Miami besides winning 2 pretty easy games. And now they are suddenly the 13th best team in the country. Is that they're gearing up so that way when the ACC has Georgia Tech win, that they can throw out this idea of, we had Miami at 13. They could still be in the playoffs. Like, it's not that crazy.
No, dude. They don't win the ACC.
At 19 or 20, it would be absolutely asinine for them to jump 9 or 10 spots in the top 10, right? 11 and 12 of the ACC and the non-power 4. And that's what I think they're doing. And I'm getting a little bit nervous that they're positioning themselves so that they can bump Notre Dame with Miami.
I don't think that's going to happen. They're ranked 9 right now. Miami's ranked 13th. Notre Dame's not going to miss it for Miami. I don't even know if Miami's going to win the ACC. The only way Miami gets in,
they have 2 losses. They're
that's what I'm saying. The only way Miami gets in is through winning the ACC, and I don't think they can. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think you're worried about the wrong things. I think it doesn't really.
It would be a better chance to.
What'd you say? Sorry.
What'd you say?
You
I think that Miami has a better chance. Sorry. I think Miami has a better chance of making the playoffs as an at-large than they do to win the ACC.
No, I don't think they're going to get in. I really don't. I don't know. I just think I think if the fact that BYU and Utah is ranked above them, if one of those teams aren't going to make the Big 12 championship game if everything plays out with Texas Tech. So I think one of those teams will get in over them. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think what if
we picked the teams based off who we truly thought were the best teams in the college football scene, and it was the best playoff on earth. And it wasn't exclusively about who you won to, the transitive property, who you lost to, who you beat, blah, blah, blah. But it's truly hey, this is arguably the best 12 team in the college football land despite 2 losses.
No, you know me.
Vanderbilt is not going to get in the playoffs with 2 wins. They're going to have 2 losses, 2 SEC losses, a couple of really good gritty wins, but they're not going to make the playoffs. It's very unlikely that Vandy.
Who you won and lost has to matter at the end of the day. Who you won and lost has to matter. Why are we playing the games? We just who you won and lost has to matter. It has to. It's the only thing that matters.
Of course it matters. What I am saying is that it's a double standard that is crazy to me. Is that it's likely that the ACC gets in, right, despite conference winners. That it's possible that Miami gets into the playoffs with 2 losses to Louisville in NC State or Louisville and UVA, when Vandy has a loss to Bama and a loss to Texas in the SEC, and they're not going to get in. So it's crazy to me when you sit here and say wins and losses matter, when just the difference in geography dictate that that's not true.
Well, that's if Miami gets in with an at-large bid. If Miami wins the ACC, I'm so fine with that. I thought we agreed on that. I don't care.
I think the committee is positioning themselves to throw in 2 ACC teams, which is sickening.
No, I don't think 2 ACC teams get in. I'll put money on it. I don't think 2 ACC teams get in, so I don't think we have to worry about that.
I put them at 13 then.
Because it doesn't. At that point, they're not going to get in, so it doesn't matter. Vandy and Miami won't get in. I don't even know if Vandy's going to win out. First of all, so okay, we'll see. We'll see that. That's why they play the games. You want to anything else about the playoff, or you want to keep?
No, I think that it implies some really, really good matchups. I think that if Texas Tech goes undefeated the rest of the year, dominates the Big 12 championship, that is enough of a resume to get a top 4 spot.
Yeah, they'll get a bye.
I don't know if they will.
I think they might, just because I think they might bump out. I don't know, because Ohio State, Indiana will probably play. Texas A&M, Georgia will probably play. I think if Texas A&M gets the doors blown off by Georgia, which I think they might, then I think they'll get bumped out in Texas State.
But their 1 loss to Georgia would be a lot better than Texas 1 loss to ASU. And then,
I don't know.
That whole argument gets brought up of why play in the conference championship if that's the case.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of things to be played. A lot of football.
A lot of things can happen. I'm really excited for this weekend in terms of one or two games. I know we talked about how much of a dud this week kind of is, but I'm excited for some answers. I'm excited for the playoffs. We're heading into rivalry week next week. It's going to be awesome. Johnny, do you want to go through the slate of the games, the picks of the weeks?
Yeah, can I do winners and losers really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the winners. First off, I'm a homer. I'm always going to root for them. My first win of the week is Terry Smith and Penn State. Penn State went out. They got another win. And, Terry Smith's not going to get the job. He's the interim coach, the safeties coach. He's been at Penn State for a bunch of years. But, man, this is a guy I'd want to play for. Just listen to him in the locker room. He's a guy from Pittsburgh. They said he grew up in a tough place. His dad went to Penn State, got the education, got a great job, and allowed them to move into a bag and open up opportunities for him. And just like, this is a guy I'd want to play for, man. Like, I was ready to run through a wall listening to him talk at halftime, talk after the game. He was crying. He's talked a lot about him and his daughter. He walks in every week with his daughter, who's mentally challenged. He's talking about like her outlook on life. And man, this is an unbelievable guy. So that's been a really cool storyline to follow. I was really happy he got his first win. Second win of the week is Brent Venables. This is a guy that you and me have been very, very up and down about. Like when he's been high, like that second season.
I'm riding the Brent Venables train right now. To answer or to elaborate on what you were saying about Terry Smith, this is a guy I think I'd want to play for.
Yeah,
that's Brent, a guy I want to put my helmet on and go hit someone for.
But it hasn't been pretty, like 6-7, 10-3, 6-7. Now he's 8-2. Last year going 6-7, people were like, Brent, I don't know, Brent. But now he's got losses to Texas and Ole Miss this year. He's got to fix the Texas problem. But at the same time, back-to-back wins against Bama, like that's huge for Oklahoma. Like
that is
winner of the week, him going out and getting a gutsy win. He's set up to make the playoffs. I think Oklahoma is a team like we talk a lot about in college football legends. If John Mateer can go out and win 1 or 2 playoff games, he's a guy we're going to be talking about the next 10 years. Like, hey, you remember John Mateer? That's a guy with guts. Coming back from thumb surgery this year, he looked better this week. I'm really excited for them. I got 2 more winners. Next one is Jacob Rodriguez. I talked about it on the hidden pod of last week. This is a guy we got to talk about in Heisman conversations. He's not going to win it, but man, his numbers at linebacker.
You don't get a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth a little bit when they gave him the football just to stat pad?
Nah, because he's doing it well enough defensively. Like 9 total tackles last week. He's a picks machine. He gets tackles for losses. I don't know. I think that's cool. Like it might be lame.
I think in a world where like there's really not that much offensive talent this year, I don't see why we don't give it to him.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're right. Like you could say it's lame because he's a linebacker, but at the same time, this is such a quarterback's award that we got to do something to stat his pads, just because we just give it to a quarterback every year. And then my last one is James Franklin in the narrative, is disgusting because 7 weeks ago, everyone and their mom was like, James Franklin's a loser. He's a loser. He's a loser. I was a Penn State fan. I heard it for years, and now he's not with Penn State. And everyone's like, you know what? This is a home run hire for Virginia Tech. James Franklin is the guy. And I don't know. I hate that because I've always thought James Franklin's a good coach. I think it's ridiculous. Everyone's like, yeah, he's the best. He's the best. He's the best. These are the same people 6 weeks ago were saying he sucked. So I don't know. I think I'm happy for him. I think he's going to be really great in Blacksburg. I'm excited to see him come out to Enter Sandman, the best tradition in college football, according to your brother Boom. So, and then losers of the week. First
better than the Iowa wave, according to Matthew.
Losers of the week, USF. It was a great story. Beating Boise.
Alex Golesh isn't going to get hired anywhere now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a bummer because after beating the hell out of Boise and then a great win against Florida, they were riding so high. Fall to 7-3, lose a barn burn into Navy. That's a bummer. Second loser is JMU. How are they still not ranked? How are they not the group of 5 favorite? John Sumrall himself is saying Tulane's not a good team. And we're not like JMU one loss to a pretty good Louisville team. They're not ranked. They continue to be a loser. No, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And finally, last loser, no surprise, Shane Beamer. Come on, man. Up 30-3. Like I think he's going to be fired just because this team
Okay.
does have talent. People thought Lenore Sell was the number 2 pick in the draft before the season. Yeah. Dylan Stewart, they were saying, is the best edge rusher, and now what are we, like 3-7 or 4-8 or whatever? I don't know what they are, but I know they're not good, and that's a bummer this week for them.
No, you're spot on. I agree with every single one of those. John Strumeroll doesn't deserve to be in the top 25 according to himself. It's such a crazy statement. He's already gearing up for his transfer to Auburn. But yeah, I think I would love to see the Dukes in the playoffs. I think that they could be dangerous. I think our boy from Holy Cross at James Madison
Chesney.
Chesney is gearing up for a massive upgrade in coaching positions.
He's gonna get a
JMU is just this it's this golden bridge. I'm telling you. Awesome winners and losers of the week, Johnny. So we have Mizzou is playing at OU, a little bit of a trap game, right? Mizzou drops 300 yards on the ground last week against Mississippi State. OU is a 7.5-point favorite. USC is heading up to Eugene. What's the stadium's name? It's like
Autzen. It never rains in Autzen Stadium.
Heading up to Autzen Stadium. They are currently a 9.5-point dog against our Ducks. Just thought this one was interesting. Nebraska at Penn. Penn's an 8.5-point favorite, which is very interesting. I didn't know you were. Oh yeah.
Yeah, driving me and my dad, my sister's boyfriend going down to Alexi. Huge listener of the pod, Alexi. And then we're going to drive Carly back up for Thanksgiving. So night game. I'm really excited.
It's going to be electric. I saw Dylan Raiola's little brother just decommitted from Nebraska.
Bad vibes.
Yeah, not a good look. You can't have the future of your program decommitting you can't have the future of your program's little brother decommitting like that. Even though I do think the backup quarterback from Nebraska played lights out last week. And I think he could be better than Dylan Raiola. Tennessee is -4 against Florida. This is just an awesome game. It's gritty. It's ugly. It's angry. They hate each other. The Tennessee-Florida game is so gross. And then finally, we have Pitt at Georgia Tech. According to Pat Narduzzi, this is the only game that matters in the world, not our beloved Notre Dame. Johnny, Mizzou at OU. Definitely a trap game for OU, right? You got to get through this one.
Yeah, I'm picking Oklahoma. I think they're just riding too high. I think it's a total trap game. What'd you say the spread was?
7.5.
Yeah, I'm still going to take Oklahoma. I think they're riding really high. I think their defense is great. I think they'll try their best to slow down the run game. I think Zoller has struggled to throw the ball for Mizzou. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but I think it's just him thrown in mid-season's too much. So I'm going to take OU. They've got the playoffs.
Yeah, I would take OU here, but I would not be surprised if this is a last-second field goal for OU to stay on top. But this is exactly what OU does best, is blow this game. I would not be surprised with a loss here. But I am going to take OU. I would never bet this 7.5. I'd probably bump it down to 5.5, but I do like OU in this spot. USC at Oregon. We've talked about this game briefly already. I know you're heavy on the Ducks. You think they have enough firepower to keep up with my boys in my Trojan guys?
Yeah, no, totally. I'm taking Oregon. I think they'll win by 10. I just think the past couple of weeks have been handicapped with some injuries. Davidson's back. I'm almost positive DeCorian Moore and Gary Bryant in the receiving core. I think they'll both be back and healthy. When DeCorian Moore is on the field, he's a game changer. And then they just spread the ball out. Kenyon Sadiq is going to be a first-round pick at tight end. I just think they have too much firepower. And I think that D-line is going to slow down. It's going to get after Maeva at USC. Like Amari Washington and
Maeva is one of the best quarterbacks under pressure, by the way. He's second to Ty Simpson.
I'm just saying I think they get after him. Mateo Ueglege, and then Dylan Thiemann might be the best safety besides Caleb Downs in the country. So I trust this defense this week.
Yeah, I'm going to throw my Cheesecake Factory pick on the week on USC.
Love it.
I think that this is going to be a much more competitive game than 9.5 points. I think that USC has been gearing for this game for many, many years. I don't think that this is the Oregon team that we've known and loved. They're gritty. They're good at a lot of things, but I just think that this USC team has been preparing for this. I think they're a lot better of a team than people are making them out to be, and that this season has been coming down to this point. I think that they take Oregon's playoff spot and they win the game.
We'll see. I disagree, but we'll see.
So obviously we're both going to ride Penn State on this one -8.5. I think this game was going to be electric if things panned out a little bit better than what we thought.
Yeah, and I think that this Penn State offense is kind of coming to form under backup quarterback Ethan Grunkmeyer. He looked awesome against Michigan State. He pushed the ball downfield to Devontae Ross, and the run game is always going to be the run game. Solid for Penn State. So I don't know. I just trust Penn State at home. It's senior day. Might shed a few tears. I'm always a sucker for senior day. So it's gonna be emotional. Night game too is awesome. If anyone can ever get out to a night game at Happy Valley, it's awesome. It's quite the show. So I'm very excited. I'll be there cheering on my Nittany Lions. So I'm
Who
definitely.
do you think's the next head coach as of week 13, November 19th?
Who do I want?
Who is the coach?
I don't know. I want Brian Hartline. The offensive coordinator for Ohio State. I've seen a lot of.
I heard it's Eli Drinkowitz and it's almost a locked up deal.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I think he's a great coach. He's done awesome at Mizzou because Mizzou's a tough place to win. And that run game's awesome. The defense has teeth. I would love if he was there. I also would like Kenny Dillingham. Those rumors have kind of shut down. This is such a dark horse. If you could bet on the next hire, I would say sprinkle a couple bucks on this. It's such a dark horse, and you can tell me to shut up, Johnny. But I'm not the one saying it. I've just seen a lot of rumors. Is if Alabama goes out and loses to Auburn, that Kalen DeBoer will get sick of the Alabama boosters and will want out. I don't think that. I want to go on the pod saying I don't think that. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of rumors.
Would you be happy about that?
Yeah, I think Kalen DeBoer's a great coach. He brought Washington to a national championship game. I don't know. How could you not be happy about that? I don't know if it's fluky. No, because, I hate to say it. I love Oregon, but he beat Dan Lanning a bunch of times. I don't think that's a fluke year. So,
no.
I don't know. I'm not saying that, but I've seen a lot of rumors. I've also heard Pat Fitzgerald. I think Pat Fitzgerald was a great coach at Northwestern when you're dealing with absolutely no resources. I know. I think that's a long shot, but those are my two long shots. But I really want Brian Hartline or Clark Lea. Clark Lea.
Yeah, I think that those would all be really, really cool hires. I think Eli would be your best option for national presence, national success.
Great. Yeah, totally. What else you got?
Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee is a -4-point favorite at Florida. This game is always gritty. This game always comes down to the wire. I think 4 points is exactly where it needs to be. Tennessee has disappointed me. Their defense is not what it was last year. Their offense was not what it was last year. But I still think they get the win here.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Actually, I'm going to switch up right now. This is going to be my Cheesecake Factory pick of the week. I think Florida's been a great team all year. Like, just not great in the fact that their record, but they've just been in every game. The defense is freaking tough. The D-line just is physical. They can run the ball.
Even though they got bodied by Kentucky 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I don't know, though. Look at the game against Texas. They beat Texas. They've been in I don't know. They've been in every game, I feel like, besides that Kentucky game. I don't know. And at the Swamp, I think they're going to defend the Swamp. I think Tennessee knows they're not in the playoff. I think they're kind of losing hope in the season. So give me Florida.
Athlon Sports said that Florida is going all in on Lane Kiffin and no one else. That's what I read.
I think Lane's gone. I don't want him to go. I think
he's
know. But how could you trust Lane after he left Tennessee, like the way he left Tennessee? Like, I think this is
I think that's a different man. And I also think we're at the day and age where people are saying, look what you guys have done to really successful coaches. How do you guys know that I'm not next, right? Like, I'm hot commodity now. What are you going to say next November when I drop 4 games?
I don't know. We'll see.
Pitt heading towards Georgia Tech. A little bit of a trap game for Georgia Tech. Obviously, they're looking forward to Georgia, where they're already a 12-point underdog against Georgia. That game has been incredibly close 2 years in a row. We're not going to talk about that one, though. Pitt sucks. They're my least favorite team in college football right now. I have a frozen heart for Pitt. Give me Georgia Tech. This seems like an incredibly easy pick.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I kind of wanted to pick Pitt just because Narduzzi's like, we only need to win 2 games. But I cannot pick against my boy Haynes King and possibly the future next Penn State coach Clark Lea. So I'm going.
That would be an awesome one, Johnny.
He's he's a name a lot of people are throwing out there. Except the only thing is, like, it always gets a little weird when like he's an alum. So like if he was an alum, I think he definitely leaves for Penn State. Because I think it's just obviously like a way easier, just a way better job. But I don't know. You get with alums, you never know. So that's why I'm not so eager to say he'll jump ship.
So for the record, last week I went 5 for 5 on our picks. You went 2 for 5. I am currently up on the year 34-71. So I really hope to get a little bit of a jump start on you heading into week 13. But I want to take a second and talk about our haters picks of the week. So in our Ghost podcast, Keith had a couple really good picks that he really wanted to be acknowledged on our pod. And I'm going to take this time to acknowledge them. Because there are some really good ones, and I'm going to clip our old pod a little bit to show those picks. So he straight up sucked last week. He went had some of the worst picks that I've ever read. The only one that he can hang his hat on is he had South Carolina plus 19.5. He said he's fading A&M, and it's not a pick based on grudging. 20 points in the SEC is too much. Sprinkle the money line. Keith, you were incredibly close to hitting that. I'd like for you to acknowledge that your best bet of the week was Texas plus 6. Following that, he had the over for Pitt Notre Dame. That did not cash. He had Alabama minus 5.5 against LSU. That did not cash. He had Baylor plus 8.5 against Utah. That didn't cash. Then he had TCU plus 4.5 at BYU. That didn't cash. For the record, he calls me out and he says, Patrick's picks are so predictable. I bet he is on Iowa, Virginia, BYU, and A&M. It's funny because the ones that he said I'm on were much better than his own picks.
Yeah.
But
no, it's crazy.
With that being said, I would like to present his picks. They're very short and sweet, to the point. Keith's best pick of the week is Cincy plus 2.5 against BYU. That's comical. Keith, since he is not going to play well against BYU, everyone's underestimating BYU. I think they're a really talented team. He has Georgia Tech minus 2.5. Love that. UNC plus 7.5. I don't even know who they're playing.
Duke.
North Carolina State plus 4.5 in Colorado plus 7.5. Keith, quite a spread there, bud.
Okay, I got our friend Matt Pittman's. Okay, he says hater of the week. Sorry. He says hate the week when half the SEC is just playing high school teams. With that being said, here's some gritty hater picks for all the sickos out there. Houston minus 1.5, Arkansas State minus 2.5, Minnesota plus 3.5, Fresno State minus 2.5, North Texas minus 18.5, and hammer play of the week, UNC plus 6.5 against Duke.
Wow, Keith and Matthew are right on par with each other. I guess our two haters are becoming one.
Oh, yes. I got to run, so you want to give our parlays before you got to go?
Yeah, Johnny, we'll send you out here. My parlay really quick to fade Matthew. I wrote this down, so I have proof of that. Awesome. Northwestern minus 3.5. Screw Minnesota. They're not a good team. USC money line and Georgia Tech minus 2.5. $10 pays 130 plus 1,300.
I got plus 12. That's 10 wins you 131. That is Texas minus 9.5 against Arkansas. I got I got North Carolina plus 7 at Duke. I think Duke's a mess right now. I don't know if North Carolina wins, but I think they cover. Then I have Arizona State minus 7.5 against Colorado. Colorado Wolf is having a bad season. I don't know what Deion's going to do. And then finally, I got Oregon minus 9.5 against USC. I think the Ducks win big this week.
Oh, I'm sorry that is going to be the deal breaker for your parlay, Johnny. I wish you financial gain, but you're just wrong on this one.
We will see.
All right, Johnny, you scoot to that basketball game, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, catch ya.